Kazakhstan is one of the most multinational countries which gathered representatives of more than 130 ethnicities and nations. Each ethnicity has unique traditions, inimitable holidays, interesting stories and amazing recipes. Recipes of kindness and peace, recipes of respect to your own roots and other people's culture, recipes for friendship. Hello, this is the Recipe for Friendship. My name is Alevtina Madyarova, and today we will enjoy daring dances, funny songs, interesting people and a sweet treat. Because today we will discover the culture of the Tatars living in Kazakhstan. So today in the program, a story about the features and details of the national Tatar costume. The cap combined with a handkerchief will be considered as the kalfak. Yes, it is a kalfak. All on a woman's head is kalfak. No, when a cap without a scarf is a cap, and everything else is kalfak. We will sing together songs with the help of the traditional accordion. About love? Everything is about love. Yes, all the songs about love. We will definitely dance. And of course, we will prepare the most famous Tatar dessert. What is the difference between the Orenburg variant of the chak-chak? I think the shape of the chopping of chak-chak differs. Somewhere it is cut in cubes or in sausages rolls. Again, all depends on how the ancestors did, and they repeat it. There are about 250,000 Tatars living in Kazakhstan. About 25,000 Tatars live in Almaty and in the Almaty region. Primarily, the ethno-cultural center of Idel represents Almaty Tatars, and today we are visiting representatives of its youth wing. Angela Gareva, for example, grew up in Orenburg, but when she first came to Almaty, she fell in love with the local mountains and decided that if she changed her place of residence, then it would be only this city. A choreographer by education, she connected her life with dancing, and now Angela Nurievna, as her students call her, teaches national dances to the kids and performs with an ensemble which she herself founded. Baz Kizim Apipa. This is almost the most famous Tatar melody, and the name of the song speaks for itself. Dance My Girl Apipa. It should be noted that the greatest development of folk Tatar dances reached its peak in the 20th century. Earlier, the choreography was ceremonial, shamanic, and it was more popular rather than daring dancing performed during the holidays. And during the middle of the 20th century, these dances had acquired bright patterns, some of which are nothing more than an interpretation of Russian folklore choreography. Nevertheless, the Tatar flavor is absolutely self-sufficient, and it is impossible to confuse it with something else. Folk dances. It is always an excellent opportunity to consider in details the national costume. It can be slightly modified, maybe modernized, but what we see here can give us a fairly vivid idea of the details and features of the Tatar costume. In the old days, Tatar girls were very fond of adorning themselves, and in order to emphasize prosperity, they even blackened their teeth, imitating dental caries. It was believed that only wealthy people could afford to eat sweets. Rima will tell us a little bit more. What is on you? Well, I have a modern costume. It's kalfak, female headdress, handmade embroidery, and also a modern vest. That is, in old days, vests were not popular? They were more popular, but they were more classic, like here on Angelica. And on me, the more modern version is. Of course, to see a woman in such a costume is unreal, but by the way, does apron remind you of anything? Who would have thought that elegant school aprons of old years are so similar to the Tatars ones? I'm wearing kalfak, but here we also see takiya. Here's a woman's cap, here's a man's cap. This is a floral ornament. Is that always so? Yes, for Tatars, floral ornament is very specific. Ornamental embroidery decorated clothes, men's and women's, and not only clothes. Traditional shoes, soft leather boots or ichigi also were embroidered by those who were good at. The cap combined with a handkerchief will be considered as the kalfak. Yes, it is a kalfak. All on a woman's head is kalfak? No, and a cap without a scarf is a cap, and everything else is kalfak. In Tatarstan, they say even nowadays you can meet a nice Tatar abiku grandmother in a traditional apron with embroidery. Young people, of course, prefer jeans. However, this does not mean that they don't show the desire for roots and knowledge of old songs and customs. We are heading to Angelica, and until the guys with their quotation come, we should prepare a treat for them. Today we get acquainted with the Tatar culture, and accordingly the Tatar cuisine awaits us in the next few minutes. Angela will tell us how to cook probably royal dish in terms of sweet Tatar cuisine, right? The main thing, everyone has already understood what it means, the chak-chak. Chak-chak is prepared by Bashkirs and Kyrgyz, Uzbeks and Tatars. But perhaps only in Bashkian Tatar cuisine it is attained such great importance. In 2005, in honor of the Kazan millennium in Tatarstan, a chak-chak weighing more than a ton was prepared. The essence of this dish is tender dough and honey. So we begin with the dough. But first let's prepare honey and put it aside and wait, as it will take long time for preparation. The set of ingredients is simple, nothing unusual. Salt in the dough, sugar and here honey, which we will melt. Nuts, raisins, well, it depends on people's tastes and mood. Everything is depend on how much we make kilograms of dough. How big is the sabantui? Honey should be enough for this. That is, if for example for 12 people, and usually on a big holiday we make sweets for 12 people, then we consume about 800 grams of honey, water and sugar. It will be fair to notice that every Tatar woman can cook chak-chak, all by eye already. How many years have you been making a chak-chak? Well, in general, I make it very often. Why? Well, I can't say why. And before that, my mother prepared. My mother is a pastry cook and also a Tatar. Well, Tatar cuisine is associated with sweet dishes, and she was a confectioner, a Tatar by birth. Then it should be something fantastic. During the perestroika period, when we had less opportunities, my mother cooked cakes, marshmallows. And sold? No, she didn't sell, it was all for us, for children. Even in the most difficult years, she treated you with sweets. Yes. Remember the proportion. The amount of sugar and eggs is strictly correlated. Now we make the dough. The amount of eggs must be equal to the spoons of sugar. It means 1 egg, 1 spoonful of sugar. For 12, then it should be 12. In general, is chak-chak from the category of complex dishes? Well, it's just that it takes more time for a big family or a big event. It takes a very long time to cut it. It needs to be small. We do not make very thick dough because it will be very hard to roll it. Historically, Tatar culinary tradition has absorbed a lot from neighboring peoples. Plov, sherbet, halva, all these are prepared not only by the Tatars. Still, the Tatar table cannot be confused with anything. Zubalish, echpuchmak, gubadia, these names cause appetite instantly. In general, Tatars are scrupulous. Tatar noodles are also famous for their thinness. As usual, we managed to get to know each other during the cooking and talk about the life. My mom is from Aktobe. I passed pre-diploma practice after college in Aktobe. Then, due to family circumstances, I had to move there. I worked for a very long time in the Palace of School Children in Aktobe. And we participated in lots of contests. Last time we went to Turkey, it was in 2012, and then we arrived right here in Almaty. And we came here often. And I fell in love with these mountains. I thought that if I went somewhere, I would come here. I was 20 years old. In short, it happened like this. Alma-Ata conquered, didn't it? But you also conquered Almaty. Your life is a choreography, right? As well as in many other cultures, it is customary for Tatars to prepare collectively for big holidays. Well, we also have the same. If we are gathered, everyone brings something. For example, our family always gave sweets, because, well, the reason is simple. We have already solved the secret of your family, sweets. And what other sweets are prepared by the Tatars? For example, khvorost, pies. Gubadya. And what is gubadya? This is such a pie. Pumpkin, rice and all this either made by layers or mixed, again depending on who has learned how to do it. And more raisins. Raisins, rice and pumpkin and cheese irimshik. It's red, cottage cheese. It's also very interesting and very tasty. Dance life is full of acquaintances and surprises. Last year we have such a good order for a grandmother. This elderly woman is from Chelyabinsk. She married to a Kazakh man and her daughter married to a Dagestani man. And the girls, her granddaughters, made an order to congratulate their grandmother on 70th anniversary. If you attend big celebrations and you will see suddenly the Tatar dances have begun, look closely. Most likely you will notice Angelica among the dancers. When the dough is rolled out, it must be dried. In the meantime, honey mixed with water and sugar is melted in a large cooking pot. It is sugar that gives the ready-made chak-chak the thickness. However, if the proportion is broken and the hostess uses less honey, the dish can be too sticky. Now the dough is ready. We dried it. It took about 20 minutes and some more effort. And now it's ready for us to cut, right? Yes. We cut it like that, with stripes. At least I can be then confident that I did chak-chak. Size matters in this case, depending on how you want, large or small. If you cut into larger pieces, then you can just say you just wanted it to be. Yes. So Abika was singing in the Philharmonic. You have an interesting family. You are full of some riddles, traditions. And what? Well, according to her words, mostly they gathered with her friends and sang. Abika sings when she cooks at home, or we ask her, Abika, sing. Abika will sing for us, of course. Finally, behind conversations and questions, we coped with the king of the Tatar kitchen, the chak-chak. It seems that there is nothing difficult, but it will be necessary to make some efforts. As you can see, there is nothing particularly complicated. Here the main thing is not to be too lazy, to spend time, to spend some effort, to sustain correctly all the moments. Everything will be good. And again, wait a little. Again, wait a little. It will cool down. Finally, we invite everyone for the table. Well, at last the chak-chak is ready, the table is laid, and now we need to say the main phrase. How will we say in Tatar language, pleasant appetite? Ash bolsin. And how do you welcome guests when you meet each other? Isam is. Well, everyone who is ever acquainted with the Tatar culture knows this phrase. Numerous travelers who have ever been in Kazan called the national cuisine satisfying and delicious, simple and exquisite, as well as hospitality, which is unforgettable. According to the ancient Tatar custom, a festive tablecloth was spread in honor of the guest, and the best treats were presented on the table. Sweet chak-chak, sherbet, lime honey, and of course, sweet-smelling tea. A person incapable of showing hospitality was considered impolite in the East, and probably everyone will agree with this in Kazakhstan. They treated guests and even also gave gifts to them, according to custom, and the guest answered the same. People said konak ashi, kara kashi, which means guest treat is mutual. So the basis of your cultural activities is a good feast, fun dances and music. Yes, and traditionally halva, fruit and chak-chak should be on the table. It is obligatory in any way, right? What does this symbolize? Who's late? He brings halva. Really? Yes. If someone is late for 5 minutes, we are ready immediately, right? Bring halma. We do not call halva, but halma. If the guest who is late brings a halma, we cut it for the tea. That's why if you do not want to bring a treat, don't be late. And if you understand that you are late now, then it's better for you to buy. Youth in the center of Idel gathers for holidays, studies songs and dances. In short, these guys show their traditions and culture. It is so fun to spend time with you guys, and perhaps it will be more interesting on holidays. Well, a song as likely and almost about love. Actually, after you have seen so much fun here, you probably show interest in the Tatar culture and you want to know more about it. Come to the Tatar Century Dell. Well, with the Recipe for Friendship program, me, Alevtina Madyarova, and my new friends say goodbye to you. Sağ olunuz, hoşçakalınız.